Hey, what's up everybody? We're going to continue on our project here, and in this video we're going to set up our project with React routing. So we're going to refactor our existing project and our navbar to support React routing, because we're going to build this whole application with the React router. Okay? And you're going to learn a few new things today that you haven't learned already, such as how to create a dynamic route, or rather a route that has information that you can pass into it, which is going to be important. As we click on a product on the main page, it's going to load a secondary page with the proper information. And so we're going to go over that as well. So React router right here, I'm on the website here, of course, github.com/react-router. And this is the line that we want right here. I'm just going to copy this, go up to my terminal, and I am in my project, by the way. Actually, I'm not. I'm glad I didn't install this. Product shop. So what you're going to want to do is go back into your project if you don't have it already. And where am I? Oh, I need to go on the desktop even. Okay. Now go into product shop. There we go. Looking good. Let's go ahead and paste this in here. So React router, of course, as you know, requires the history package, which we are installing now. So, and you know what? I'm going to do that again, this time with the -- save. So it's saved to the repository. You don't have to, but if you want it as a dependency when you put this on GitHub, that's important. So we are now installed. It is on our package.json. Let's go ahead and get started here. So I'm going to open up this directory with Atom. So Atom space dot. And let's get rolling. All right. So cool deal. If you don't remember, what we did last time is we've got a navbar here. We're passing in data to give it colors and styling. This is here in our main file. We're passing in the links. That's going to change. And so it's just a navbar right now. So what we're going to do to support the React router is kind of what we did in previous projects as we were learning it. So I'm going to go here, close my public folder, and up here in the source folder, I'm going to right click and go to new file. And we're going to call this routes.jsx. I like to keep all of my routes in a single file, so it's just organized well. So var react equals require react. Okay, boilerplate stuff, right? Var react router equals require react dash router. And then var router equals react router dot router. Okay, and if you remember, right, this is just the package that we're importing here, and this is the router itself that we need, and then we need individual routes. Okay. And, you know, they could have designed this to put it all together, but they didn't. They modularized it, so that's why we're grabbing the specific things out. They designed it this way, not me. And that looks good to me for right now. And then, similarly as in the past, I don't want gobbledygook hashes in my URL in the banner bar. So let's get rid of those here. Create history equals require. This is the history library /lib/create hash history. Okay, and then we'll create the options object like so. New create history. You've seen this before. If you haven't, go back and look at the React router videos. And all we're doing here is again turning off the weird hashes that will appear in your URL, which are there to support older browsers, but we don't want it because it looks ugly. Okay, so this is our router. Let's think about what we're going to do for right now. So I just put boilerplate stuff in, and sometimes I do that. If you're programming and you have stuff in your head that you know you need to do, just get it out of your head and do it first. You don't have to plan out your whole application. It's better to make progress and then stop and think what you need to do if you have something to work on. So now what we need to do is think. So we're going to have our navbar on the main page, and we want our navbar on every page. And right now for this application, I'm thinking we're going to have a home page, and then we're going to have a product page. So the main page will have like a showcase product, and when you click on it, we load the detail page. So right now I'm thinking 2 pages. However, okay, we also want the home page to be our default page too. So when someone goes to www.mywebsite.com, we don't just want to show the header, right? We want to show the default home page as the indexed page there. So we're going to do that as well too. So let's pretend that we've got these already. So we're going to create something called base. Okay, I'm going to call it base page like so. And we're going to pretend we've created this, but the idea is we're going to have a base page that has our header in it. Okay, this is similar to what we've done in the past. And then we're going to have a home page and a product page. Okay, so require, It's going to be dot/components, and it'll be base page JSX. And if you're wondering why I'm putting the word page on it, it's because I want this to be known that it's a page, not just a component. Okay, so it is going to be in the components folder because it technically is a React component, but I want to know that it's an actual like web page. So that's why I'm calling it page. Okay, and we got var homepage equals require dot/components /homepage. Again, we have not created these yet, but I'm just getting them out of the way. And this is how I program. Like, I'll often code things that don't exist yet because I know they're going to be there. And what's cool is when you do that, when you code, that's product page. When you code without the things being in place yet, one is, first off, that's similar to how you build unit tests. So if you're going to build an application or do test-driven development, you often code something before it exists, and then you run it until it breaks. And so, for instance, we're kind of doing similar things here, that we're coding it first, and then if we were to compile it, it would break because it can't find the things, and then we would go and build those things that are broken. And so it's a good way to code, or one way at least. Okay, product page equals require dot/components /product page.jsx. Let's get our routes in. And again, this is similar to what you've done in the past, following the exact same pattern actually. We are going to do something different here though, slightly, in just a moment. History equals history. So we're passing in that history object that's right here that's telling, hey, get that ugly hash out of the browser because it's ugly. By the way, there's a debate going on about this right now. Some very I was going to say anal, but some React programmers, they're like, don't ever take that out. That's, you just need to deal with it, But come on. Are we really going to make professional websites that have weird hash signs in the browser? You're going to make people think they got a virus or something. It's not good design. I would not recommend it. So doing what we've done before, right? So we've got our router, and we can close that off here like so. And then we've got our first route, and let's go ahead and close that off because we know we're going to have inner routes here. So route. So remember, this is the home page, right? Or the home route. So www.mywebsite.com. And so we're loading the base page, which is going to have the nav bar. But remember, we don't just want to show the nav bar. We also want to show a page as a default page, which is our home page. So let's go ahead and do that now. And maybe you're thinking to yourself, well, why not just put the home page right here in this base page? Let's just put all the code for that there. Well, here's the problem. You've got a nav bar, and what if you had a footer or things you want on every page? Well, if you just put your homepage code in here, your homepage code would show up on every page, which is not what we want. That's why we're not doing that. So we need to import another variable here, okay, or create one anyway. It's going to be called index route, okay, React router dot index route. So it's React router dot index route. This is an official React router thing, and all it is we're saying, hey, this is the index route. So show this when someone gets to the home page. Okay, that's all it is. And when I say home page, show this when someone gets to this route right here, the default page, route, whatever you want to call it. So we'll put it in right here. Index route, route, okay? And component equals home page. All right? So what's going to happen here is whenever the URL goes here, it's going to load that header, of course, and everything that's on the base page, but then it's also going to load this immediately. Okay, which is what we want. So whenever someone goes here, it goes here. Makes sense? Very cool. So that's what we want. And so let's go ahead and add the second route as of right now. And that's going to be the product page. And we're going to do something new here. This is going to be product ID and component equals product. Okay, so this is something new. And what this is a URL parameter. That's the word I was looking for earlier. It's a URL parameter. And the idea is, whenever you have a colon right here, it means that you're actually going to put a value in there. So for instance, if I find my browser here, so for instance, this would be /product. Oh, come on, /product. And it wouldn't be this, you saw that in the code, but that's not what it would be. It would just be some value here. So maybe a number or a letter or something like that. So basically by having the colon there, okay, this colon right here, we're in essence saying, hey, we're going to pass in a value here that we want to access later on. So we're actually passing in data straight into the URL. And so when you click on that link and it goes here, it means that it's pulling up a specific ID. So this is a route parameter, which is what we want. Okay, so that's what product ID is there, or that's what this URL parameter is right here. And you'll see how to use that in just a little bit. So that's something new. And then we'll export this, of course. Module.exports equals routes. Okay, so we've got our pages here, which don't exist yet. And then we've got our routes here in our router with different routes. And then the index route is the base route, which is going to be the home page in this case. So the base page will have the nav bar, the home page will be the home page, and the product page will be the product page, although we're never going to load the product page unless there's information in it, such as the product ID. So that's why we put it there. Okay, this is looking good to me, except this needs to say product page and not product. Okay, should we create those pages now then? Okay, let's go into source, and in components, I'm going to do new file, and I'm going to call this one basepage.jsx. And I'm going to create a new file again, just get them out of the way in that same components folder. And we're going to call this productpage.jsx. And one more, which will be the homepage.jsx. Homepage.jsx, like so. Okay, so we've got our 3 pages there. Might as well get the boilerplate done, right? So var react equals require react. All right. And if you're ever wondering, why don't I just copy and paste since I've already gone over this? The reason is I've been teaching for a long time, and it is so important just to reiterate the movement of typing the same things over and over and over again until you get it in your head. You should have this all memorized. You should not be having to like remember, how do I create a React component? So that's why we do a lot of this. So var base page equals, and that's what I do personally when I'm learning. So that's why that's also why I don't use a whole lot of shortcuts and tools and things like that, because sure enough, something breaks or you don't have those available to you and you have no idea what you're doing. And it's happened to me before. So let's go ahead and render. We know that we need that. All right. And what I like to do is just get the boilerplate stuff done and out of the way. Module.exports equals base page. And then let's go ahead and just return JSX, which right now is nothing. We're going to put our nav bar in there soon. And let's get the other boilerplate stuff done. So in fact, we can just copy this here and put it over into product page. And we're going to call this product page. All right. And I'll go ahead and paste this here. And then home. Well, let's actually copy the whole thing again. And home page. And this will be home page and home page. So we're getting some boilerplate stuff out of the way. There's nothing in here just yet. And so let's focus first on the base page. What do we want in our base page? Well, we want our navigation bar, right? So where's that currently living? Well, I think right now we just included it here in our main.jsx. And so I'm going to copy this nav bar right here. Okay, I'm going to go over to base page. We're going to render it right here. Go back to main.jsx. I'm going to grab these nav links. I'm going to copy these as well too, and just put them right here for now. I'm going to change these around, and let's go ahead and import that. So var, what is it? Now my mind's going blank. Okay, it's the nav bar. So var nav bar equals, well, it's in the same directory. So require dot slash nav, not in the same directory. It's one directory in. Nav slash nav bar.jsx. Okay, and as of right now, our homepage is just going to have one link on it. So let's just clean that up there. In fact, since it's only a little bit, I'm just going to make it one line just to make it extra tidy. Okay, and let's go ahead and put this right here. So here's a question for you. We've got the nav links data here. Right now, the href is just a pound sign. What do you think it should be? That's what I think. So whenever you click home on the actual title bar, it takes you to the home page, the slash. Makes sense, right? Okay, so that's cool. So there's our nav bar. That's looking pretty nice, actually. There's one thing that I think we're missing, because this is a header, right? So with React Router, what do we need to do to show all the other components? What do you think? Do you remember? This.props.children. So we can show all the components underneath it, or that are going to be swapped in and out. So this is our base page. This is looking good. Okay, we got our header in there, or not our header, nav bar. We've got our nav bar in there, and we're including the other children. That looks good. Okay, so on the home page, we can just return some temporary stuff right now. Let's just, actually, we can put some links in there too. Let's do that. Let's put some links in. So I'm going to say, I'm going to do div, end div, and on the home page, just to show that it is the home page, we'll say home and the H1 there. And let's put a couple links in here for our pages. Well, for our product page. We'll pretend that we actually have products. So list item, end list item, list item, end list item. Okay. And then, so what I want to do is, let's pretend, at least for right now, let's pretend that these are courses, like you know how you're taking a React course, okay, or an iOS course, like I have on my website. Let's just pretend that we have courses in here. So do you remember what you need to use in order to link URLs with React Router? If you said link, then you would be correct. So let's go ahead and import React Router equals require. And let's say React Router. And then var link equals React Router dot link. So then all we have to do is, instead of using an A tag, remember we're not going to use A's anymore when we want to link to other pages. You use A's for everything else, but not when you're linking to other pages, or meaning not when you're linking to something that needs to be directed via React Router. You're going to use link instead, okay, instead of the A. And then let's just say we go to the product page, and remember how before it was product ID? Okay, well, we're not doing that here. Here we're actually passing in an actual ID. So imagine that we were downloading courses from the internet, these products or t-shirts or whatever you're selling, okay, from the internet, and each product had an ID. Well, you could dynamically, we could do, for instance, these list items here, we could map those dynamically from the internet, and each one has its own ID, and then we build a URL. So this would be, product, plus we'd probably need to be in JSX, would probably be like this. So it would probably be slash, product, and then plus slash plus product, download PID for product ID. It probably looks something like that. So you dynamically could load products on the page, which is really cool. But obviously we're just setting up example page right now. So let's just go ahead and put in a fake number there. This is product ID number 55, okay? And we don't need these curly braces because we're just going to pass a string into there for right now. And let's just put some boilerplate stuff. So iOS course, okay, that looks good. And let's end the link like so. Let's do it again. Not there though. Let's do it in between this list item. So link to equals, this one's going to be product, and this one we'll just say 67. How does that sound? And we'll call this one the React course because we're selling the React course. All right. Looks good to me. Okay, so we got some products there. We've got our list items here. So this is just the homepage, that's all. I'm just putting a couple links on there because what I want to do is I want to test and make sure that over here in my routes.jsx, I want to make sure that this URL route's working. So that's why we're putting it here. I'm going to test it out. And these will change over time, but this is how I code. I often get the boilerplate base stuff down so I make sure everything's working before I move on, start kind of building the base foundations here. So that's the home page. The product page, let's talk about that one. So on the product page, we actually want to show the product that's being displayed. Now, we just got some silly dummy data, but we can still make sure it's all working. So let's go ahead and do that now. And this is, you're going to learn something new here. So first off, let's just put in what it's going to say. Hi, I'm product number, and this .state.product ID. Maybe you're thinking, wait, that's the same name that we put in the routes. Are those two connected? Actually, they're not, but I'll show you how we're making that. We're going to make that connection here in just a second. But what we are doing is we're grabbing the data from the state, which we have not created yet, and we're going to show it here in this header. So let's go ahead and figure out how to get the ID from the route, okay, from the URL. Remember, someone clicked the link and it went to mywebsite.com/product/ whatever the ID is. How do we get that? And that's what I'm going to show you right now, okay? So we're going to do it here in component did mount. So after the component's mounted, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to grab it and set it to the state. So this .set state product ID. So this product ID is the same as here, okay? And so as not to be confusing, maybe I'll just say PID, okay? And I'll call this one PID. And then what we're going to do here is say this .props.params.product ID. And here's the key, okay? So React Router, when you go to that page, if there are any parameters, it will automatically pass them down as a property to this component automatically, okay? Let me say that again. If you have landed on this page and a parameter is passed in, a route parameter with information in it, it will be available via this.props.params, okay? This will never change, okay? And this right here, this last piece, has to be the exact same name. Not just ID, not whatever. It has to be the exact same name as what's right here. So forget about the colon. The colon just says, hey, there's going to be data there. And then it gives a variable name. So just pretend this is a variable. And if you want to access that data, you've got to use the exact same name. You're like, you just said that 3 freaking times. Shut up already. Well, now you know. Haha. And I can say what I want because I'm making the videos and you have to listen to me. All right, so this.props.params.product ID. So we've just grabbed that from the route parameter, okay? What we're doing is when the component mounts, we're setting the state with that information. And of course, so we don't get any errors, let's go ahead and set initial state. If you don't set initial state, this right here, okay, this would come up null and you'd get an error in your browser and your console. So get initial state is very, very important. Don't ever forget it. If you're going to use state, you need to make sure you set initial state. Otherwise, even if I did this, we would still get that error. You have to initialize. This is like your initializer, right? So you have to initialize your data to whatever you want it to be in its default state. Because remember, what's going to happen is your page is likely going to render once when there's no data on it, and then it's going to render again. It may be called a couple times, and the first time through, it's not going to have any data in it. So we need to make sure, and this is wrong, this should be PID. We need to make sure that this doesn't throw an error when we do it. So we're initializing PID to an empty string. That's why. Okay, so this is looking good to me. Are you confused at all? Does this make sense? I'll recap it one more time here. So when component mounts, we grab the parameters from the route params. Now keep in mind, if you have a page that may or may not have route parameters, okay, this could be empty. So you're going to need to be careful to check for that. In our app, we're assuming that you never go to this page unless there's data in it. So we're grabbing the product ID from it, which was actually, this value comes from the browser, okay, when the user types that information in the browser. All right, so that's what's happening there, and then we render it out, and this looks good to me. So we've got the base page done, we've got the product page done, and we've got the home page done. I think the last thing that we need to do, maybe 2 more things. Let's look at our nav bar here, make sure everything's still good in here. So we got a nav bar, and let's see, what is this? Title. This is just the title. Right here, so this is interesting. We're in our nav bar. When you click the image, it just is doing nothing right now. But I think our image should probably take us home as well too. And so I'm going to make this into a link and an end link. Okay. And then instead of href, we're going to say to. And of course, this is going to be the slash because we want it to go home when someone clicks the image there. So that looks good to me. I don't think we need to change anything else here. And that looks good here as well too. Let's go to main.jsx and see what's going on here. So we don't need this anymore, right? The nav links, or the nav bar actually. Let's get rid of that. And we need to import our routes. So var routes equals, and this is in the same directory, so we can just say require ./routes.jsx. And then instead of rendering the nav bar here, let's go ahead and render the routes like so. And document get element by ID nav, let's change this to main and go in our index.html and change this from nav to main because we're just going to main for sake of, hey, this is the main section here, or I could have called it base. And I went here to base page. I just want to double check, make sure my base page is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So href, so we're passing in an href to our nav bar, okay, and that's creating, I believe that's creating a nav item. So let's look at our nav item here. So here's another a link, href, and sure enough, there's an href there. This needs to be a link instead of an a. So link and end link. And by the way, by putting this in here, we're basically forcing ourselves to use React Router. So if you have another website that's not using React Router, you're going to get errors if you use this link, okay? So that's a choice you have to make. If you're going to use React, if you're going to use these links in React Router, they got to go hand in hand here. And this is going to be 2. Okay. Let's go ahead and open our terminal and npm start to make sure it compiles. And I do have an error. It says it's in base page JSX line 10 character 12. Base page line 10 character 12. So we've got a problem here. It's because this needs to be, we have 2 elements here, I believe. Let's let's take a look here. Why actually is this throwing an error here? Yeah, okay, it is that. It's because you can't have multiple elements with React when you're exporting it. It can only be 1, so we have to wrap these in a div, I believe. Let's give that a shot. Open our terminal, and look, it wrote it right there, 0.57 seconds. So that looks good. So I'm going to Command T to open up a new terminal window, and I'm going to turn on my Node Version Manager real quick. And what I'm going to do now is, if you remember, we have to load a server to make sure this is all working. So you should have HTTP server installed, or you can use your other favorite server. So I'm going to do HTTP-server -p space -p, and let's do 8989. Okay, I'm going to copy this URL right here. Let's go find a browser. All right, and product shop, it's not working. So Command-Alt-J to open up my terminal here. Route is not defined on main.js. Let's just see where exactly we're referencing it. Okay, create element route. So let's go to our main.jsx, and there's routes. So it's not there. And it's not very telling on our browser here because I'm not sure. Okay, base page. Okay, this looks like it is in our routes, though, in our routes class. So somewhere in here, I'm writing the wrong thing. So let's take a look at this here. So, it's because I forgot to define route here. I mean, I had an S there. See how I had an S? I kind of have a duplicate there, causing problems. I just took off the S there. Let's go ahead and look at our JSX. That's good. That looks good too. I'm going to go back to the web page, refresh it. Okay, getting closer. Link is now not defined. Okay. By the way, this is how I debug as well too. So let me see where we're located here. We're talking about create element. Which element are we creating? This is the product shop, title, nav bar, icon bar. What are we creating here? This is a button. Looks like this is in our nav bar, and it's because I forgot to import link. Good stuff. This is good. Sometimes people, when I do this, they think to themselves, oh, why doesn't he just script this out? But learning programming is not about learning syntax. It's about learning how to solve problems. Those are the best programmers. So var, we're going to need to pull in React Router now too. Var React Router equals require React dash router, and then var link equals React router dot link. And this is in our nav bar. I believe we're going to need to do this in our nav item as well too. So let's do that now. Looking good to me. Let's go ahead and open our terminal, make sure that it compiled, which it looks like it did. Okay, let's go ahead and refresh. Hey, no errors this time, I believe. Very nice. So cool. So we're on the home page. So when I click this, nothing should happen. When I click this, nothing should happen because obviously we're on the home page already. When I click iOS course, it should say, what, 55? Was that the other one? So let's just be sure. I always like to see what my tests are going to be like beforehand. So 55 and 67. And if I look at the product page, it should say, hi, I'm product number 55, and should say, hi, I'm product number 67. That's what we should see when we click on these links. Hey, pretty cool. So we can click home to go back. That worked. Click the React course. That's 67. That worked. Let's see if our product shop image icon works up here. And that works as well too. So notice how the link tag with React Router, all the styling for our A tag still works and everything. It's just kind of a wrapper around that. And so that's good. You know, it's great that none of that our code broke. So very cool, right? So iOS course, React course, that looks good. and I could easily have put these links up here on the top as well too, to take us directly to those pages. In fact, you want to try it out just to see. So we've got our nav bar here, and here's our data for it, right? So we've got our title, okay, and then we've got our href. Okay, so there's one object. I'm just going to copy and paste this 2 more times so I don't have to format it. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say iOS course, and remember this was product / I think 55, and then this one is going to be the React course, and this one's going to take us to product / 67. So hopefully, if our code is still working on our nav bar, which is really cool, see how easy it was? I didn't have to write any other code except add it to this array. If all's working, this should now appear on here, which it did. Hey, look at that. Although this is not appearing to update for us here. So we have home. So when I switch between the two, though, it doesn't want to update. And I think the reason why is because we are only doing it on component did mount. We're not also doing it on component will receive props. I believe that's the one we need to do it on. So we just give it a try. Component will receive props. Component will receive props. I believe that's what it's called, and that will give us our next props from React itself. So the reason why this is happening is because when we've clicked on it the first time, it's already loaded this, and so component did mount will never be called again because it's already mounted for that product page. But we still need to refresh it every time we click it, and so component will receive props is going to be called every time the properties come down and changes. So I think this should work for us. So let's give it a shot here. Let's say this.setState, and we can fix it if it does not working. So this would be next props. So next props that are coming in .params .product ID. Okay, let's see if this works now, and if not, we'll figure it out. So I'm gonna refresh the page. iOS course. Hey, look at that. It's working now. Can you see? All right. So we never really covered component will receive props, but you're learning it here. So the idea is, again, component did mount is only ever called once, and since we're using the same product page, okay, it's loaded that component, so it only loads the data once. But the data is still changing every time the link's being touched, because the React router is going to pass us those new props with the new data in it. So component will receive props is called every time the props change, and it passes us the next prop. So we just updated the state with those props there. So there you have it. We've set up our project with routing. Of course, this would not take nearly as long if you're doing it on your own, but I explained everything here, and it's looking good. We're going to make this look a lot prettier and a lot cooler. That's it, Mark Price. Moving on, devslopes.com. And remember, to get your free live help, go to devslopes.com and click on chat room. I'm there all the time, as well as a huge community of other students.